Man, oh man. Feel like leaders of the new school is just another case of that OPTA. All right, so I've been searching the YouTube verse and looking at to see if anybody else is seeing this thing, right? And I've been seeing this for a couple of weeks. You know, every time there's a sport, like a game, there's always, at least in the NBA, I'll say in basketball. I'm sure other teams do this, but I only watch press conferences for basketball games. I don't know why. But whenever I watch, you see a game, there will be a press conference afterwards where you'll have both teams. Typically in the NBA, it'll be the same setup, press, conference area. You know, you might see the Lakers play. You might see LeBron coming there by himself or with AD or some other player. They'll talk. They'll answer questions, and then they'll get up and leave. And then later on, the next team will come in. Right, the team they just played. In the WNBA, it's not like that. Like, teams are just talking to their media teams afterwards. So you go on YouTube and you watch these things play out. All right. Now, I don't know. I watch all of these. I watch these press conferences all the time. I've watched every game I've seen Caitlin Clark play, which is all of them this season. I've watched the press conference afterwards. And let me just say this. I'm being 100%. This is not clickbait at all. Press conferences are hurting Caitlin Clark, and they're going to hurt the Indiana Fever. They're going to destroy the Indiana Fever. Everyone is excited about the Indiana Fever. They're excited about Caitlin Clark. And they're going to press conferences. So after the game, talking about after the game, post-game press conferences, all right? Post-game press conferences after the games of Indiana Fever games are going to destroy the Indiana Fever team as we know it. And let me explain to you why. And this is not clickbait. This is observation. Now, obviously, when we make observations about people's body language, we don't know if we're right. Only the Lord knows, right? But, you know, you judge a tree by the fruit that it bears. Fruit can also be body language, facial expressions. All of us have noticed a friend or a loved one and been like, are you okay? And they say, I'm fine. And you think like, no, I don't believe you're fine. And it's not because you're calling them a liar per se. It's just that you're observing characteristic traits about this person that you think your body language is saying something different than your mouth is. And let's be clear. Many of us know that oral communication is only a percentage of communication, but body language is also communication. All right. There is a pattern to press conferences after the Indiana Fever win. Now, there's only been one, maybe two that Caitlin Clark didn't come out to. Maybe, well, when they were losing a bunch of games, there were some that she didn't come out and answer questions earlier in the season. But now it's pretty much expected, win or lose, to see Caitlin Clark. She's usually with Aaliyah Boston. Lately, it's been Kelsey Mitchell. I don't know how they choose who comes out to the press conferences after the game. But lately, it's been Caitlin Clark and Kelsey Mitchell. And then they'll do Christy Sides, the head coach, separately. She have her, like, it'll be the same video. First part, it may be Christy Sides, and then the end, Caitlin Clark and teammate, and all of that, right? There are two things that happen in these press conferences that are going to ruin Indiana Fever. I think are ruining Indiana Fever and are going to hurt Caitlin Clark. Two things that are happening. The first is the one I'm not going to focus on, but I'm going to mention it. The first thing they're doing at these press conferences, they just ask her the same questions every week. And sometimes they're dumb questions. So on my church, right, every Sunday after I preach, we have Q&A. People can, our phone number pops up on the screen. You send the text in and people ask questions. And my colleague, whoever's not preaching, will be the one who does the Q&A. Like, they'll read the question and you answer it live. It's in the moment. That's how we do it. We're nuts like that. We don't have it And there are times when questions come in and it's like, well, I made that point like a couple times. How come you're asking that question? But it is what it is, right? In these press conferences, these are professionals. They're professionals. And they ask the same kinds of questions over and over to Caitlin. And some of them are like, how's she going to know that? Like, Caitlin, what do you want your legacy to be, 10, 15, 20 years from now? She's like, I'm 22 years old. I don't know. I'm just trying to play basketball. Like, you're not thinking like that at 22. Like, I want my leg. That's what you ask Diana Taurasi, who's been playing in the league for 22 years. 20 years. I want my legacy to be this. You don't ask a 22-year-old rookie, like, what do you want your legacy to be, right? So it's clear that they don't even know how to ask her good questions. So she ends up answering the same thing. But that's not the main issue. The reason why the press conferences are going to hurt Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever is I'm getting ready to show you this right now. All right, now, they just played Atlanta Dream Monday night, last night. Caitlin Clark had 19.7 assists and so forth. Kelsey Mitchell had 29. Sometimes I think she shoots just because she's just unconscious. She doesn't care. There's no bad shot to her. But she nails them. But I want you to watch this. Now, again, this observation is coming from body language. All right? But I want you to pay attention to what's being said here. Look at what they asked Caitlin, and then look at what they asked Kelsey at the end of this. Keep in mind that Kelsey Mitchell is the leading scorer of the Indiana Fever, right? And she's the leading scorer. Watch this, though. Listen to this right here.
Caitlin, I want to ask you, obviously the first half of the season wrapped up, your rookie season. What are some things that you learned about yourself that you've taken over now into the second half of the season?
I think I understand the game a little bit better. Like, it is a lot different than college, and I think also for myself, being able to get to know my teammates and understand how they play, and then to understand how I play. Like, that's a big adjustment coming in here, and I think once we've been able to figure that out, you can really start to see us play better with one another and play off one another a little bit better. Our chemistry has improved. So I think, all of that combined is just learning from game to game, continue to improve in certain areas, little areas. And I think for myself, I'm really excited because I feel like there's so many areas for me to continue to get better. And
All right, this is what I want you to look at. Look at Kelsey Mitchell on the end. The whole time, let me tell you something. I don't know, you probably don't watch as many press conferences as I do. All right, so let me put you hip to something. When Aaliyah Boston is doing a press conference beside Caitlin Clark, all right? When Caitlin Clark is talking, Aaliyah Boston will often be looking at her as she's talking. And sometimes they'll laugh and do stuff and all of that, right? She'll be looking at her. This is predominantly, she'll be looking or she'll be looking up, right? Every once in a while, she'll look down. The whole time, the majority of the time when Caitlin Clark is talking, look at Kelsey Mitchell. She's down there looking at stats and stuff, all right? She's down there looking at stats, all right? This is important because you're going to see why in a second, why this is important and why these press conferences are hurting Caitlin Clark and the Indiana Fever. Now, let me give you a quick backstory. About a couple weeks ago, Kelsey Mitchell made a statement that gave the impression, they asked her, hey, the Indiana is hosting the All-Star game next year. How you feel about that? She was like, happy for Indiana. I mean, woo, woo, woo. But she gave the impression that she may not be there next year. And for a couple days, there was Kelsey Mitchell's talking about, testing the free agency market. They're not re-signing, and she's been to Indiana all the time, right? So I guess they wanted her to be super excited about but she wasn't. She wasn't really excited. She gave the impression, I may not even be here next year. She said, I'm happy for them. She didn't say, I'm happy for us. And people, okay, cool. That may mean something. It may not. We obviously don't know. But as you watch this press conference, she's looking down at stats. Listen, as a former basketball player, I know it doesn't look like it. You don't really care. You care about your stats. Kelsey Mitchell knows she had 29 points and whatever. That's one of the first things you find out after the game. Hey, you had 29, 6 assists, good job. So Kelsey Mitchell's looking at stats the way an assistant coach would. That body language is giving off the fact that she's like, okay, you guys aren't talking to me, you're talking to Caitlin. And she's not looking up and being a part of the conversation. She's almost ignoring what's happening. Now, you may think, oh, you're overreacting, but keep watching. Watch what happens next. Watch this, after she gets questions for her.
That's exciting as a player. It's just you want to get in the gym and work on those things. And I love being in the gym. Every single person on this team does, and we all feel like we can continue to get better in a lot of ways. And this team's young, has a lot of young talent, and I feel like we're just starting to put it together a little bit. So hopefully that continues to come along.
We'll stay third row on the left here.
Hey, Kelsey, Rashad Milligan rolling out.
This is her second question. Okay, in this interview, this is her second question that she's being asked directly. All right, and listen to the question.
A couple weeks ago, I spoke to Skylar Black. She stopped by Atlanta, and we spoke to her. And we were talking about you and your game and everything. I just wanted to ask you about what's that relationship like with you and Skylar, and what do you think her message to you would be after a performance like tonight?
Did you hear the question? We were talking to someone else about you, Skylar, whatever, right? And we were talking about your game. And I want to know what do you think she would say to you about how you're playing right now? She had 29 points in the game, leading scorer, balling. They would not be. Caitlin Clark is phenomenal. But granted, you could say, well, Kelsey Mitchell is benefiting from her assists, and right. But let me tell you something. As someone who presumably, I don't know if they keep these records anymore, broke Isaiah Thomas's assist record at 5-star basketball camp. I went there in 1991, and I broke Isaiah Thomas's, former Detroit Pistons, basketball. I had 19 assists in one half. You played a half. The good players play the second and fourth quarter. The not so good play the first and third quarter. That's how they did it. So college scouts could just evaluate you. I had 19 assists in one half in the second and fourth quarter. And the record was 16, Isaiah Thomas, apparently. Right? As someone who does assists, the one thing I do know is this. I can pass you the ball. I can come down, look this way, hey, and throw the ball that way. I can do whatever, all that stuff, right? But you still have to make the shot. It's not an assist if you don't make it. So for anyone that says, yeah, but Kelsey wouldn't have 29 if she hadn't got the ball passed to her, no, she wouldn't have 29 if she didn't make the shot. The pass doesn't make you make the shot. All the pass does is give you the ball to take it. So she had 29 points, and the second question that she gets asked in this press conference, and they're asking Caitlin about stuff like, what do you think your impact is going to be? She's like, I'm 22. And they're asking her what another woman would say to her. But this isn't even the big one. The next question is going to prove, I think, my point that these press conferences are hurting Caitlin Clark and are going to ruin, I think, the Indiana Fever unless something happens. But watch how she answers this, and then listen to this next question that she gets asked. And specifically, look at her face. Look at Kelsey Mitchell's face. After she answers this question, the very next question, look at her face, body language, and all of that. And then you'll see what I mean. See if you see what I see. Maybe I'm wrong. Watch this.
Yes, Skylar grew up together, actually. Come from the city of Cincinnati, West End. And so I got a chance to meet her as I was growing up to hoop. And so I just think she would tell me to stay confident, stay ready, but obviously stay level-headed about the moments and never get too hard, get too hard.
Got a last one on Zoom.
All right, she grew up with a former player. She would tell her, stay. Here it is. Okay, listen to this question asked. Look at Kelsey Mitchell's face and body language. All right, keep in mind, she is the leading scorer of the Indiana Fever. She had 29 points after this press conference, right? They've been asking Caitlin Clark some of the dumbest questions, I think, for who she is. She's saying the same thing every press conference. Like, she's 22. Stop asking her what her legacy is going to be. She doesn't know. When you're 22, you just trying to hoop. She's just trying to hoop. That's what she says. Listen to this question. Look at Kelsey. Look at how Kelsey Mitchell reacts to this question because they finally give her some recognition. Watch this.
Zoom, Mike Vopel.
Yeah, thank you. This is for Kelsey, please. Kelsey, you're one of only 4 Fever players who's had a streak of 20 or more points in 4 games in a row. And you've done it twice now. I'm just wondering how you sort of just really lifted your game now and being in a playoff race. I know you're used to scoring a lot, but it's probably never meant more in a Fever uniform than it is in this stretch. And what's that like for you?
Did you see her face when he said, Kelsey, you are one of few players in the NFL that are averaging more than 20 points a game, 4 games in a row, right? She goes like this. And she stays that way the whole time. This is what I think. I could be wrong. I'm no CIA analyst that knows body language. But I know people. I know what it's like to be a competitor. But you know what I know more? I know what it's like to not get recognition and get tired of it. See, let me tell you, I think Kelsey Mitchell is looking at the stats and stuff because she doesn't want to participate in the Caitlin. She's like, man, why am I here? I don't need to be here. She probably has to be there because that's the new thing, the backcourt, the duo. Caitlin Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, so she has to be there. But they know at this press conferences, all you're going to care about is Caitlin Clark. So when she finally gets some recognition, Kelsey Mitchell was like this. Almost like saying, thank you, someone sees that not just Caitlin is balling. And then these press conferences, if they keep ignoring the other players who are scoring a lot, especially Kelsey Mitchell, it's going to hurt Caitlin Clark because here's what's going to happen. You're going to breed jealousy. Caitlin does a good job being like, but when you score 29 points and you're dropping buckets and you get 3 questions, one of them are about what is some other woman, what do you think she would say to you right now? That's the question you're going to ask Kelsey Mitchell? This is the only question at the end of this thing that cared about what she just did. Let's go back real quick. Look at her face. Let's look at this one more time. I'm going to rewind this back. Look at Kelsey Mitchell's face when this question gets asked.
Playoff race. I know you're used to scoring a lot, but it's probably never meant more. And I think your uniform players has had a streak of 20. Yeah, thank you. This is for Kelsey, please. Kelsey, you're one of only 4 fever players who's had a streak of 20 or more points in 4 games in a row. And you've done it.
What do you think that face means? Look at that face right there. What do you think that face means? You're one of few players that have 20 or more points 4 games in a row. And look at her face. Look at that face. That's a face of I'm not getting recognized for my accomplishments here. So when she said a couple weeks ago, well, I'm glad for Indiana. I mean, they're going to, it makes sense because in these press conferences, all they care about is Caitlin Clark. Granted, yes, every video, Caitlin Clark that led the team. No, she didn't lead the team. Kelsey Mitchell led the team. She had 29. Yeah, Caitlin had 19, 7 assists. We know who Caitlin is. They're going to hurt Caitlin Clark and this team by showing this amount of favoritism. Look at Kelsey Mitchell's face. It's almost as if she's saying, no one else is acting like I'm contributing right now. So she's making a face. That's a face of discontentment. That's what I think. I could be wrong. I don't know the woman personally, right? So this is speculation. But look at her face. She is disappointed and she's thinking finally someone's acknowledging. And then listen to how she answers it. Listen to how she answers.
Twice now. I'm just wondering how you sort of just really lifted your game now being in a playoff race. I know you're used to scoring a lot, but it's probably never meant more in a fever uniform than it is in this stretch. And what's that like for you?
Take the moments in stride. I know for me, I just enjoy to play the game. I like the hoop, and I know the work that I put in, the craft that I have, and I'm gonna keep utilizing my team to do that. But down the stretch, it's always gonna be the same. Whether I was in the playoff stretch, a playoff run, or not, I'm gonna play the same way every time. So you can expect that. Thanks.
You see what she's saying? Listen, I'm gonna play my game of ball, and I'm gonna do. You can expect that from me. I'm balling like that. It's almost as if she's reminding people, I'm balling. Don't forget about me. You know why that's important? Because when she's negotiating a contract with another team, she wants to make sure that they have that in their minds. Kelsey Mitchell, I think she was blown, and when they finally brought up what she did, she was like, I don't know what you think about that body language, but that's what I think. I think the press conferences are going to hurt. They're hurting Caitlin Clark. And, Aaliyah Boston can laugh it off. Aaliyah Boston, rookie last year, rookie of the year. She understands that she understands that she needs Caitlin Clark. All right. Kelsey Mitchell, I don't think she thinks she needs Caitlin Clark. She enjoys playing with her. If you watch those games, rarely does Kelsey Mitchell pass the ball back. It's almost like if she catches the ball, she's shooting. And praise the Lord that she's hitting them joints. Sometimes she misses and it's like, come on, Kel. But she be smacking them things, right? The reality is that body language, I think she's hurt. She's hurt that she's not getting enough recognition because Caitlin Clark is the household name. Yeah, she passed her the ball, some of those assists, but Caitlin only had 7 assists. Kelsey had 29. So even if so there were a lot of shots that Kelsey hit that did not come from Caitlin Clark's hand. But even if they did, getting a pass doesn't mean you'll make the shot. You have to be skilled enough to make that shot. And Kelsey Mitchell sometimes will step back and shoot it over people, or she's a little, and she'll drive the lane and lay it up. I hope these are supposed to be professionals. Man, they got to step their game up. Watch other press conferences and stop asking Caitlin and at least be a little bit balanced. Be balanced a little bit. Like, most people want to hear from the players more than the coach. I get if Christy Sides is there, you're not asking her the equal amount of questions as Caitlin. I get that. And I get that because Caitlin's the star. She's the one that people want to hear about. But you got to give props to these people. Otherwise, you're going to cause, women say women are catty. They're jealous quickly. I think they're helping breed envy and jealousy just by the mere fact that you're not giving Kelsey Mitchell in particular the type of recognition that she deserves for Indiana being where it is. You got to stop media. You got to stop leading off with the videos that Caitlin Clark led the team to victory. She had 19 points. Yeah, she did on one level because but Kelsey Mitchell led it. She had 29. You take away 12 of her points and Indiana Fever lose by 2 or whatever it was, whatever the distance was. So I could be wrong. What do I know? But I do know body language. I know what it feels like to not get recognition. And that face, Kelsey Mitchell made that. That was a face of offense. That was a face of, I don't get recognition. And so her answer was, I'm gonna always play my game. I'm gonna do what I do. I think she's gearing up to leave. So enjoy, unless they have a real powwow and Indiana Fever is going to offer her an insane contract. Appreciate this season because Kelsey Mitchell is going to go somewhere else because she doesn't need Caitlin Clark to score like that. She benefits from it, but she's cooking and she's in the prime of her career. And I bet you, I wouldn't be surprised if she's thinking, I don't want to be backseat to Caitlin Clark. I don't care who she, because it's not like they're going to they're in a playoff position just because of her. Without Kelsey Mitchell, they would not be in a playoff position. She's balling right now. So, but what do I know? Let's go to the tape. Kelsey Mitchell deserves more love. I can't. 100%, bro. 100%. 100%. Good point. Thank you, fam. 100%. She deserves it. I agree with you. Press is doing a poor job. Most fans realize Kelsey is a key player on the Fever, though. Yeah, the fans do. But when you just had 29, keep in mind, I think, if I'm not mistaken, that was her highest. 28 was her previous high that she got a couple days prior. So 29 points is her season high. And she's reading the stats because they're asking Caitlin questions like, what do you want to be when you grow up? I just think it's going to hurt them. Yep, I even think Caitlin would rather. What's funny? Did you say that, Gary? Earlier in the year, I remember this happened a couple times at press conferences. One time, Caitlin was like, ask Aaliyah questions, ask her questions. She was like, no. But she was like, no, ask her questions too. Like she did get tired of it, 100%. It's up to everyone in the press and on YouTube to promote Kelsey more, but she doesn't get clicks in CC. That's true. But at least what they say, we talk about giving people their flowers, right? Like, okay, no one's going to make YouTube videos showing her highlights the way they would Caitlin Clark because she's not the household name. But my gosh, man, you're a sports analysis. You're a sports ESPN. What are y'all doing? Like, you're going to show Caitlin Clark had 19 points. Kelsey Mitchell had a season high 29 points. Like, that's why she's like, that's the face of discontentment. That's the face. I just think they're going to hurt. They're going to hurt these people. I'm telling you. Mitchell, a pure shooter, gets a lot of great looks playing with Caitlin. Not sure she's going to get those elsewhere, but she creates her own shot though. Gary, let's keep it 100, right? Yeah, she may get some great looks. You know who get the most looks in terms of scoring is Aaliyah and Lexi Hall. Lexi Hall's not a scorer. Let's just be honest. And let me tell you what I think is happening since you brought this up. And this is not. Let me tell you what I think will happen. This is what I think is going to happen. I think when Lexi Hall had those 6 threes the other game, 2 games ago, and it was all this type, oh, Lexi Hall. There, and she started the second half of the game. Katie Lou Samuelson wasn't feeling well, apparently. So came out of the game. Lexi Hall, they need to build her up. They want her to hit shots because I think the Indiana Fever know Kelsey Mitchell's out the door. They're not going to promote that now, but you can see it in Kelsey Mitchell's body language. I mean, I'm telling you, if you're in the mood, go back and watch some previous press conference with like Aaliyah Boston in there, and look at how she's watching Caitlin Clark when she talks, looking ahead, and then look at how Kelsey Mitchell's just down. Like she's really pretending like she's reading stats. She's not reading those stats. She knows what she scored and what she had. Listen, when you play a sport, especially when you know you were balling, right after the game, that's the first thing you want to know. Hey, what did I drop? Shoot, you had 29. You had 3 steals and 8 assists. Good game. Yes. That's the first thing you want to know. That's all you care about. You don't want to know how many rebounds such and such had. You might want to know how many someone on the other team that may have been who you were going against, what did they score? But no, she's not reading that paperwork because she's disinterested. She's disinterested. It will change. It better. I'm telling you, it will change. It better. But why is that a Caitlin problem? I ain't say it was a Caitlin problem. I said it's a media problem. I said it's hurting Caitlin Clark because if she loses Kelsey Mitchell, then you're losing a 20-plus point scorer. There's no one else on the team that's doing that. Who else is doing that? So in that sense, it's not Caitlin's fault. Like she's the problem, but it's a Caitlin problem because if Kelsey Mitchell leaves, look, here's the reality. The Indiana Fever are going to make the playoffs, it looks like. Their schedule is pretty soft. They got a tough game tomorrow night against Connecticut, and that's an arch nemesis game. Dejanay, whatever, who's an Alyssa Thompson's girlfriend, she doesn't like Caitlin Clark. I think they're losing tomorrow, Indiana. I think Connecticut's still just better than them. They got a tough game then, and then Friday night, Angel Reese versus Caitlin Clark. I don't think it's going to be a tough game for a different reason. But their schedule's kind of soft. They're going to make the playoffs. You know what that means? They're not getting the number 1 pick this year. They got the number 1 pick 2 years in a row because they were the worst team, one of the worst teams in the league, didn't even make the playoffs. They're not getting the number 1 pick. So you're going to have to develop. Now, they might move and shake, but you're going to have to develop who's going to be the number 2 shooter. So it is a Caitlin Clark problem in the sense that she loses Kelsey Mitchell. Pobrecito. It's going to be tougher for her. Some of them assists. So they're not. Kelsey Mitchell's bailing them out of a lot of games. And when she loses her, I think that's going to be it. If you think the press is bad, you should see the rest. That's a whole different video, my friend. Whole different video. Wonder why she never achieved those numbers before this season, never had this many wins in 8 seasons, never made the playoffs, and most of her points are wide open shots because of Cece. But that's not the point, though. That's not the point. I get what you're saying, Adams. I get it. Sure, it's because of Caitlin Clark. Sure, because when you have someone that commands so much, that's why all those players are getting assists, scoring, because there's so much focus on Caitlin Clark. But the point I'm saying is you still have to make those shots, bro. Like, you still have to make them. So on one level, if she can make those shots, then that means she can go to another team, get a pass, and make them. But some of her shots come off the dribble. Kelsey Mitchell crosses over and then drives a lane and does that little one-handed lay, that thing that they do. They do a lot of that in the WNBA. Caitlin Clark's doing that more now too. Sure, we'll give her credit for being able to score more because of Caitlin, but I don't know if you play sports. I don't know if you play Adams. But here's the thing. When you start getting confidence in your game, they say the game is mental for a reason because there's a confidence issue. I've watched players who were ridiculous all of a sudden lose their. I remember Steve Francis, who used to play for University of Maryland. Steve Francis grew up around where I grew up. He was one of the best point guards in the league. I love watching Steve play. He was tough. Played with Katino Mobley at Houston Rockets. But when Coutinho Mobley got traded, you could tell his confidence went down. All of a sudden, Steve Francis was sitting at the end of the bench on the New York Knicks a couple years later. He could still ball. Same thing happened to Gilbert Arenas. When that mentality is messed up, you lose your confidence. You don't have the same. But when you get confidence, so you could say, yeah, well, Caitlin Clark, but Kelsey Mitchell has confidence now. She knows she can score, and she in the All-Star game, she wasn't getting impact. She was taking people off the dribble. She got a handle. So I think, yeah, maybe she wasn't getting them last year, and they didn't have a personnel. I mean, Aaliyah Boston wasn't there. This is her second season. So the NFP was just terrible. You can't blame Kelsey Mitchell for being the best player on a terrible team. I mean, that's just going to happen. I do agree with you. Let's call it. That's what I'm saying. It's media. I'm not saying Caitlin Clark is a problem. She's not doing. Caitlin Clark is like. She's not the problem at all. It's the media. Mitchell, a selfish player. She's terrible in the fourth. Went 0 for 8. Yeah, in this game, I think she's selfish, but she balls though. You cannot tell me, Gary, that they would be where they're at if she wasn't scoring what she was scoring. The Indiana Fever do not blow teams away. They don't have that chemistry. They don't have that dog in them yet. They were up by like 18 points against Phoenix, against even Atlanta. Atlanta's like 10 and something. They were up 18, and Atlanta brought it back to like 3 points. And they just don't. That's why they're not. People should calm down about, they're a contender for the championship. No, they don't have the dog in them to finish teams off. So all those games that they've been winning have not been by like 30 points, whatever. They're like by a couple points, 10. I think one game it was like a 10 or 11. But they're within reach. You take away Kelsey Mitchell's scoring, they lose all of those games, fam. So I mean, you're pretty critical, Gary. I don't know why you're always critical. You seem pretty critical, bro. Like it's not. I mean, Kelsey Mitchell is selfish, but a lot of people are selfish. Some of the best players are selfish. And I'm not sure. I don't think that's the issue, the main issue. You don't know sports, it seems. Thank you, Adams. Thank you. Well, you don't know how to understand communication because I'm making my point clear and using footage. Your statement doesn't change anything. It just means you don't like what I'm saying, and that's fine. This is life. It happens. I feel that it's the problem with the league and the hate towards Caitlin. Well, I'm not sure what you're talking about, Donna. The point I'm bringing up has nothing to do with hate towards Caitlin Clark. I'm talking about them praising her so much in the post-game press conferences that the media is ignoring the accomplishments of Kelsey Mitchell, which in many ways, her 29 points, when she hit some clutch shots at certain times in the games, I think that's a reality. And I think, so that has nothing to do with hate towards Caitlin. That's actually so much praise for her that you'll focus on what she did or what wondering what she's learning and this and that more than like give Kelsey Mitchell or whoever, if it's Aaliyah Boston, give them like their flowers each joint and then ask Caitlin the questions. We get it. We want to hear Caitlin. So I get that. She's gonna be backseat no matter where she goes. If she's a top dog, it's losing team just like her first 8 years in the league. Yeah, I think players come into their own. For you to say she's going to be backseat no matter where she goes, I think you don't know the future. So it's just, we're all just speaking from, so I could say you don't know sports either. You probably never played sports because when you play a season like she's having, your confidence goes to the roof. And part of being a good player, this is why all the people who actually do know sports say that the game is mental. It's 90% mental. So obviously for you, it's 90% commenting. It's 90% mental. I played sports. I was a top athlete, point guard. I was one of the best at one point in time. I ain't that now. But I mean, so like, the game is mental. Her mental is on point. She was in the All-Star game cooking. Obviously, Arike was the star of the show, and that was incredible. But Kelsey Mitchell was like the third scorer. She was cooking. So I don't think you know what you're talking about, Adams, to be honest with you, but I get it. I feel you. We're all entitled to that opinion. It's fine. We can agree to disagree. You don't have to agree with me. I make videos. I don't care if you agree. This is my perspective, and I get it. We all do this. Caitlin doesn't need Mitchell either. Mitchell won 35 games in her career before Caitlin came. So your main fever is winning is Caitlin. Yeah. So Gary, so you just, I don't know what it is, brother. You and Adams, y'all must be roommates because you're missing my point. I'm not saying that the Fever aren't winning because of Caitlin Clark. What I'm talking about, do you watch my Caitlin Clark videos? I think she's phenomenal. She's the only reason why I watch the WNBA. Watch me. The only reason why I know what I know about other people is because of Caitlin Clark. I love Caitlin Clark. I think I watch every one of her games. Didn't watch one because they tried to make you pay for a subscription or something. I was like, man, come on, man. I already paid for the WNBA joint. That's not my point, bro. I'm not saying that she's not the main reason why they're winning, but she's not the only reason why they're winning, is what I'm saying. Please, I hope this makes sense. I imagine you're a grown individual, man. She's not the only reason why. The main, so what? She gets her credit. Caitlin Clark gets her credit for being the main reason why they're winning. The main reason why people are drawn to the WNBA. The main reason why women's basketball. We get it. We love Caitlin Clark. But she's not the only reason why they're winning, bro. And what I'm saying is if they don't give people their flowers in the press conference, they're going to help breed jealousy, because it's like, man, I don't want to go to this press conference. They're going to say, so when you got Kelsey Mitchell sitting there pretending like she's looking at stats, and I don't know if she was or not. I think she was pretending. And then when she answers the question, like, that's saying something, bro. That's saying something. It's called Scottie Pippen syndrome, and Scottie Pippen was trash without Jordan. Yeah, I hear you, Adams. You keep playing that drum, man. I just don't got the same rhythm you got. Disagree. KM is a professional. Thank you. Thank you, Botox. She's paid on a max contract and needs to keep her ego in check and not compete with a team member who is loved more. CC put 17,000 people in seats last game. 100%. 100%. But the problem is not her ego, bro. The problem is not just her ego. When she gives Caitlin her props and all of that. There's nothing wrong, though, with wanting respect when you put in work. I don't know who you are, Botox, but if you're, I don't know who you are, if you're a man or a woman, but so I'll use a scenario, and this may not be relevant to you because it may not be your life. But like, say at your job, if you get a project on your job, right, and you have 4 people working on this project, and someone drops the ball and you do the bulk of the work, right, and then your team gets really encouraged by your management staff because they're like, this project was done well. We are very pleased with this. We're grateful, and all of the employees, but then they start talking about the one employee who did the least work. You're going to feel some type of way. Is that just your ego? It could be, but it could be like, well, hey, sure, I put in recognition. I put in work too. That's just human nature. When you say I love you to someone, when they don't say I love you back, why do you get offended? Because you want that reciprocation, right? That's just human nature. It's not just ego. It's not just. So I guess I just disagree with y'all. I disagree with y'all, and it's okay. We can disagree, fam. I'm not one of those people that think you have to agree with everything I say. I don't do videos for that. But I'm also not a chump either, and just like, okay, well, I'm not going to do that either. I'm going to push back too, right? It's fun. I like the banter. We love the Lord around here, but I don't mind pushing back. I love the banter. Big loss if you 100%. Thank you, Eric. I mean, that's one of the things I'm saying. Oh, she's going to go somewhere. You think the Fever going to be the same team without Kelsey Mitchell next year? I don't think so. I don't care. You know what? Here's the thing. Jordan never won a ring without Pippen. He didn't. So let's be clear. Jordan did not win a ring without Pippen. So if you want to call the Pippen syndrome, what somebody said earlier, Adam's Odyssey, Jordan didn't win without Pippen, fam, and that's just the reality. So calling it the Pippen syndrome don't mean nothing. Jordan did not win a ring without Pippen. Jordan didn't win until Pippen came in 87, and they won their first one in 91. And they went on a tear, 91, 92, 93. Jordan retires, 94, comes back mid-95. They lose to Orlando Magic in the playoffs because Jordan was just coming back. He came back around the spring. They got swept. And then after that, they went on a three-year tear. He never won without Pippen, fam. So all that, Pippen was, Jordan didn't win without him. I'm not sure why so many fans think Kelsey needs to be traded. That's a bad moment. Retirement model Railroad Express. Oh, thank you. She doesn't need to be. This is what I think. I love Caitlin Clark. I think she's phenomenal. I'm looking forward to watching her for years to come. But even Jordan needed Pippen to go back, right? Shaq never won a ring without Kobe or without Dwayne Wade. He needed someone. LeBron had to leave the Cleveland Cavaliers and link up with 2 superstars from other teams. It just doesn't happen. It's a rare occasion that's why there's all these super teams are coming together, leaving this and leaving that. Kevin Durant would not have won a ring had he done 2 years with with the team that beat him in the finals when he was at the Western Conference Finals when he was. It's just common knowledge. Like, who's telling me I don't know about basketball? What are you talking about, bro? And I'm saying this more just I like the banter. I'm not really offended. This doesn't bother me. Believe me. These things, I've been shot at point blank range, fam. I can handle. But I'm just saying, I don't think some of you know about sports. I think you're commenting because it's a video and you like the topic and you like the comment. I don't think you know about sports because you're bringing up stuff without no facts, no details. These are statements. I can give you. I just walked you through all these different things just off the cuff. Like I know about sports. What I'm saying, I believe to be true. Lexi can't shoot like Mitchell, one of the best shooters in the league. Lexi more defensive. Yeah, Lexi, she had one great game, and everyone was flipping out, oh my gosh, and it's great, good. But you know what? They gave her props way more than Kelsey Mitchell got hers. And I'm not saying that's a white-black thing. I'm just saying they gave Lexi her props more than Kelsey Mitchell because Lexi can't shoot like that. She didn't have a great game. She had the best thing. She played some defense, but even then, she's not like shutting down the best players on the other team. Let's not go there. She's a better defender than Kelsey Mitchell for sure. But it ain't like she stopped their 25-point score and held it to 8. She ain't doing that either. You know, so she's just Caitlin Clark's best friend on the team right now from all it looks like. They travel together, they're going to country concerts together and all that stuff. Right? So all that, they better hope that, first of all, remember, everyone in the WNBA was a dog in college. This league is like, these people, these women, there's only 12 teams, 144 players. These people all these girls were ridiculous in college. They weren't riding the bench in college or in the WNBA. You can't do this. These people can both. So these girls were all good at one point. So Lexi Hall was probably a dog when she was in college, but she's not doing that right now. She hasn't been doing that. She had that one game where she balled out, and then they better hope they develop that because if Kelsey Mitchell's gone, they're going to need it. Kelsey looked like she looked down the stats and seeing her shooting percentage and wanted to crawl in the hole. I doubt that, famo. I don't think you've ever played sports, fam. I don't think that happens. That's what she was doing at all. That's why she made that face when they said, you're one of the only players to score 20 points in 4 games in a row. She was like, that ain't like, oh, but my percentage though, fam, I just think this might be your last comment. Man, I think you just talking right now, bro. I don't mind this, but I think you trolling. You're not really thinking about what you're saying or what I'm saying. So I don't know if I can put you in the comment section anymore, fam. Fever needs to keep Kelsey. Thank you, Cynthia. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. It's just that simple. Oh, man. Let me keep going because some of y'all are wild. And she shot 23 times in ball hog fourth quarter. There's a reason Mitchell has been in the league 7 years and been a loser. Goodbye to you, very replaceable. All right. Okay. That's what you say, but you got to think about it. That's easy to say, but I don't know, Tenfold, if you know sports, but sports is about chemistry, right? This is why players get traded and go to other teams and you develop chemistry. Remember when, to use the point I just said, when LeBron got traded, when he said, I'm taking my talents to Miami, right, and left Cleveland, LeBron remember when Jay-Z said, I'm not a businessman, I'm a businessman. When LeBron left Cleveland, a whole industry shut down, $100 million industry, because people would go to bars and drink afterwards and watch the games, and then he was gone. So the NBA, I think they rigged it, so I could be wrong, but they rigged it so they could get the number 1 pick 2 years in a row, and they got, anyway. But when LeBron left, remember what he said when they did the press conference with him, Dwayne Wade, and they were like this. We're going to win 1, and then 2, and then 3, and everybody was like, oh! And then they go up against the Dallas Mavericks and get smacked, and they lose. People were like, oh my gosh, what's going on? They lost. The humility kicked in. But you know why they lost? Because they didn't have chemistry. It was the first time playing together. Dwayne Wade, each of them were all stars on their team. They didn't have chemistry. So like they didn't figure out, who do I yield to? Who takes the But then after they did that, then they won a little bit. Teams are about chemistry. So it doesn't matter what Kelsey Mitchell did before. What is her chemistry to this team? Like this team, that's how you got to think about sports, fam. It's chemistry to this team. When players get traded, it's all about the chemistry. That will they have chemistry with this team? Because if that chemistry when chemistry is working, a 6-team seed can be the 1 seed in the NCAA tournament. Even though they don't have better talent, they have better chemistry. People, this is sports science. You guys are looking at this from just like old stats and stuff. That's not what I'm saying. Let me see what else. I want to get some other people because some of these comments, I appreciate y'all, but some of y'all comments, man, I don't know if y'all don't like these people, possibility or what. I feel like they're not intelligible sports comments. I'm sorry, I'm not trying to be. I just feel like they're not intelligible sports comments. So I'm just going to skip some of these. Haven't seen the WNBA in years, so without knowing any more of the story, what do you attribute them ignoring to her? I think there's an idolatry, a fascination with Caitlin Clark. That's what I think it is, and I think this is just the way it is, right? There's always someone who's like the GOAT or the chosen one, right? I think it's just it's because, and some of what they're saying, it wouldn't be the attention that Caitlin Clark draws does free up other players. Now, Leah Boston was Rookie of the Year for a reason, so she didn't have Caitlin Clark last year, right? So you could say Kelsey. I don't know what Kelsey Mitchell's average was last year. I'm looking at her team chemistry right now. But what's happening in the media is everything's about Caitlin Clark. Now, if we want to pull away from the WNBA, like most of my videos that do the best are when they're about Caitlin Clark, right? So Caitlin Clark is going to draw clicks and likes. So every media outlet, whether it's legacy media like CBS Sport, ESPN, NBC Sport, legacy media, and then you have YouTube channels like me, right? We always try, because we want people to like our channel. We want people to subscribe. We want people to, so you're not going to talk about stuff no one cares about. So I know people who look for YouTubers who look for the trending topics, and then they go do and they do videos on that, because you want people to, who puts out an album and hopes nobody buys it, right? Who works hard and hopes to not get any playing time? No one fantasizes about second place or third place. When people go to the Olympics, they don't think like, oh my gosh, I can't, it's going to be so incredible I just want to get a bronze. No, everyone wants the gold, right? So it's the same thing in this. You do videos, you want people to, so some of the media is choosing Caitlin solely because they're going to get more likes, they're going to get more subscribers, they're going to get more people to watch. And if you're legacy media, then you're a company, you have shareholders. You have shareholders that want to make money by investing in your company because so there's a lot of that stuff. So that's why some of the stuff that people think, oh, it's the agenda of the media. It's like, no, this is what is generating. Listen, if 80-year-old women who were riding dirt bikes and selling lemonade and popping willies would get people, we would see that all over the place. It's just who's going to get more. And Caitlin Clark is just that. She's the most exciting player, I think, in sports. I think she's a bigger draw than even NBA in the playoffs. There were times that people, I'm telling you, go look at it when the Indiana Pacers were playing. I'm losing. Was it Boston? They played Boston in the NBA East Conference Finals. There were people that were watching Indiana Fever games. It was like, I would watch some of that and then switch back and forth. She's the biggest draw, and so I think a lot of it is that. Let me see. They don't have enough dogs. CC Cam and AB have a little dog, but they have no role players. They don't have any role players. That's the best thing you've said all day. You're convincing me you understand sports, Adams Odyssey. And I'm not trying to belittle you, but I just think some of your comments, I don't think you're paying attention. But that's 100%. This comment proves that. That's right. Mitchell is clutch. I hope she doesn't leave, but she already gone. She's just showcasing her talent. That's Gary. Thank you, family. This is what I'm trying to get at, brother. This is what I'm trying to get at. This is what I'm trying to say. That's what she's doing. When she's like, and she said, I'm a play my game. Like, I'm gonna do what I do because this is what I do. That's what she's doing. Well said, Gary. Thank you. A little bit of that is helpful. You weren't an athlete. Bob Jones, you weren't a university to let black people in. So I don't care what you think. If you think I wasn't an athlete, I didn't say I'm an athlete. I played basketball. I went to 5-star. I had a great time. Played against. I went head to head with Kevin Norris out of Baltimore Dunbar, who played 4 years as the point guard and for the Miami Hurricanes in the Big East. We went head to head at 5-star. It was incredible. And Howard Garfinkel stopped the game because I was a no name and he was a top recruit and I was cooking and they were afraid of what would happen. Yeah. But I wasn't an athlete. But I appreciate it though, Bob Jones. You're historically racist college by the name at least. So I'm just joking around with you. I really don't care if you think I was an athlete or not. But I like the banter. It's fun. All right. Let me see some people. Kelsey better. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, I mean, I'm gonna be honest with you. So that's funny. No one else has said this. Let me tell you where I agree or I disagree. I agree with that. I think Kelsey Mitchell. Everyone acts like she only scores when she catches an open pass from Caitlin Clark. They ain't been watching the games, man. She doesn't get the majority of her points from Caitlin Clark. She may get her a pass in the offense, but Kelsey Mitchell will shoot on her own. She'll dribble. She drives the lane, that little left-handed layup, that little scoop that she does. I think she creates her own shot better than Caitlin Clark. And right now, she will shoot with people in her face more consistently than Caitlin. Better. So in the individual sense, I would agree with that. Where she's not better is Kelsey is a ball hog. Someone said that earlier. She doesn't think about the other team. Like, I think she would shoot like that, win or lose. That's a different thing. Caitlin Clark knows how to make the team better. I don't think Kelsey Mitchell does. And the player, especially at point guard, and I know that position, despite being told I wasn't an athlete, the point guard position has to make the team better. That's why Magic Johnson was so phenomenal, because he had to make the team better. All of that. So I would say Kelsey is better at creating her own shot right now. Yeah, Caitlin has some moments. She had a tough dribble behind the back, switch up. Woo! Tough. But she hasn't been doing it a lot. You know, that even she said in the press conference, the game is different from college to NBA to the pros. So anyway, I agree with your point. Thank you. Appreciate you. There are so many factors that contribute to a team's success. Player chemistry is one I think is important. Coaching is up 100%. Some players do well. Yeah, 100%. Coaching matters. And not only just coaching when the coach actually gets behind you. Remember when Teresa Witherspoon, head coach of the Chicago Sky, said she had Angel Reese on one side, Kennedy Carter on another, and Teresa Witherspoon said in front of everyone, in front of Angel Reese, that Kennedy Carter is the star of this team. She's the reason why we've been having success. You know what Kennedy Carter did? She smiled and she said thank you, and then hugged Teresa Witherspoon. Now, it didn't look like it lasted, but that's a different video. But my point is, when you have a coach that has your back and it believes in you, see, Caitlin Clark gets to do a lot of things that other players would get on the bench for. If Caitlin Clark comes out and throws 3 bad passes in a row or whatever, or someone scores on her, they're not going to take her out right away because she's Caitlin Clark. But if someone else does that, you're on the bench. So just imagine if Kelsey Mitchell goes to another team and they believe in her. She's going to take off. Everyone who disagrees with you. No, I didn't say you. There's a lot of people that never play sports. Stephen A. isn't a dude who has it. But I'm not saying everyone who disagrees with me never plays sports. I said understand sports. There are aspects of sports that go beyond just the simple stats you're talking about. Because there's only it's only 2 of you. It's you, Gary, Mason Commons, and then someone else. So it's not that, brother. It's not that. It's just and didn't you tell me I don't understand what I'm talking about? So why can't I say it back, fam? There's a lot of people who agree with what I'm saying because they see it. So I'm not sure what you're in here for, Adams Odyssey. But I like the banter. Like, I'm okay with it. I hope you're okay with it. You can push back. Why can't I? I don't even have to put your comments on the video. I'm doing it for you. I don't need your comment on the video, right? So we're just having a little fun here. Caitlin maybe should sit some of the press conference out. I think so. But you know what's funny? She did when they were losing. When they lost during that stretch when they lost, were like 1 of 8 or something. She wasn't hitting all them press conferences. It was Aaliyah Boston, Katie Lou Samuelson. It was all of them. But since in the last month, it's been Caitlin Clark is always there. Lately, Kelsey Mitchell wasn't there at first either. It was mostly Caitlin. It was Caitlin and Aaliyah Boston at first, and then Caitlin sometimes wouldn't show up. But now it's largely Caitlin and Kelsey. The last few that I've seen, it's been Caitlin and Kelsey. I think cats like Adam and Gary are trolling. Your point. Thank you, Richard. Thank you, man. And so this dude's going to tell me, oh, everyone, get out of here, Adams. You're just trolling, bro. You trolling. Like, I don't know how old you are. If you're a kid, it makes sense. If you're a grown man, grow up, fam. Well, you trolling. My point is clear, man. I'm not saying what you think I'm saying. You cannot agree, that's fine. But I'm giving facts and stats and examples. You're making little statements. And so that's why I'm saying this stuff, man. What are you talking about, bro? This is I love Caitlin, but the WNBA don't give Clark her credit either. I don't know what you mean by that, Donna. If you mean like the actual league and maybe the players, on one level, yeah. I mean, listen, And I think that might have more to do with it being women are just catty. And women say that. Women, because in the men's, they don't do that. Now, men will go at you, though. Like when Wemby came into the league, I remember everyone was like, oh, this the new dude. This the big dude. Everybody wanted to. So when Ja Morant crossed him over and dunked on him, boom, it was like, he did it because, hey, you the one everybody's talking about. Welcome to the NBA. Rah, right? So I think in the men's sports that happens, but this type of jealousy, men will, like when LeBron came in, they gave him his props. When Steph Curry came in and was shooting, they were giving him his props. But they're gonna go at you. They're gonna play you tough because they don't want you to outshine them. I think the WNBA I've covered this in a bunch of videos. I think there's jealousy. I think there's fear. I think there's a lot of stuff going on with Caitlin Clark. I think a lot, but I think honestly, I think the one thing I don't think I've said that I don't think many people said, most of these women are just disappointed. They're disappointed. They're just disappointed. You know, they probably came to the league. They were phenoms in college, got drafted, had hopes of playing. The season didn't go how they thought. The money wasn't what they thought. The recognition wasn't what they thought. And they were probably hoping to come into the league and make everyone love women's basketball the way that they do. And then they come into the league and they got to go overseas to play. I mean, remember that whole thing about Brittany Griner getting arrested because she had drugs in Russia? That was because she had to go overseas to play in Russia. So, like, the women don't make enough money to have an off season where they don't have to play. So there's a lot of disappointment. And then I think everyone wants to be that. And as the league has been slowly growing, it still never got there. And then all of a sudden, everyone's talking about a girl who's in college. And you think like, yeah, she's doing that against college players. But and so I think there's a lot of disappointment. I think some of them are just hurt. They're in their feelings on one level because of that. So Mitchell had a nice 3 game of shooting, scoring, and now it's the Clark Mitchell show. It was Clark Bosch. 100%. I mean, I think that, but that's how it goes, though, right? I mean, if you looked at 2 games ago, they thought, oh my gosh, Lexi Hall. They were talking about her, and she didn't. I don't even know if she made a 3 last night against Atlanta. So I think that's just the way it goes. But Kelsey Mitchell, I think they said Aaliyah Boston because she was the rookie of the year last year. So they were thinking, oh, this pair is going to be incredible. And then they weren't winning games. And so it was like, okay, Aaliyah, they got to learn how to play together. There were all this stuff. But because Caitlin was so phenomenal in college, we just knew like at some point it's going to click in. And then it's starting to click in. And then, but now Kelsey Mitchell is doing her thing. Lexi had Ryan in hell, LOL. She's legit. They badly need to start her at the 3. Yeah. I think with Mitchell Lee, she will make whatever team she goes to and make that team more dangerous for sure. 100%. 100%. I think she will, 100%. Kelsey doesn't get props because it's expected for her to score. That's an interesting point. I think it's more than that, but I would add that to the list. I think that's an interesting point. It is expected for her of her to score. But I think listen, here's the reality. When we're infatuated with an athlete or an actress or actor or a rapper or a entertainer, like they're the draw. Like let me give you, I'm just giving you these off the wall examples, right? So when Dave Chappelle had the Dave Chappelle show, he had other comedians that were there. Donnell Williams, I think, was it Williams? Is that his name, Donnell? Why am I forgetting his last name? I would say Donnell Jones, but that's the singer who said, "Where I Wanna Be." Donnell, I think, anyway, the dude was like, he's a comedian as well. And he was associated with Dave Chappelle. And when he would go do like comedy stuff, like he would, I think it's Donnell Rollins. I think it's Rollins. He would do comedy and stuff. It wasn't the same draw. Even when he at times opened for Dave Chappelle, he got popular because of it, but it wasn't because Dave Chappelle is the guy. He's the guy, right? The reality is Caitlin Clark is the one. So I think they do expect her to score, but I just think her scoring to everyone is underneath is because of Caitlin Clark. So it's like, well, you would, and we don't know if she would have that this season because of that. But yeah, I think it's pretty crazy. Yeah, the media and fans are hurting Clark. Kyrie left the Cavs because some media members were asking him some wild questions like, "What's it?" Nakarami, I wish you would have been in here earlier. Exactly. That's exactly my point. Exactly. Like the media. Remember, there's a popular gif of Russell Westbrook being like, "What you talking about, bro?" You see it all the time, right? Because media will ask you the dumbest questions. And I think media shows their bias for who they want to talk about. So like to your point, asking Kyrie Irving what it's like to have LeBron as a father figure. You don't know if that was offensive to him or not. He might be like, man, I love my dad. I love my dad. You know, so anyway, I just think that kind of stuff also. Also, KD said he didn't want to play with LeBron because of top 100%. 100%. That's why some of the players that play for LA end up leaving LA because of that, because of the toxic media and everything's about LeBron. And I think Kelsey's feeling like that. So the media needs to chill or else players aren't going to want to play with Clark. This is the kind of point I was making. And thank you for Rich for pointing out that people may be trolling because they're acting like, that's the point I'm trying to make. Exactly that. I love Caitlin, and Kelsey is a great player as well. I think when Kelsey starts shooting cold, it's because she burns a lot of energy. 100%. Listen, Kelsey Mitchell is the Speedy Gonzalez of the W. I mean, I don't know if I've ever seen a player that fast. I'm sure I have, but I can't think of one. She is Speedy Gonzalez. I watched her run it, like there was a long rebound, her get it, and then run faster than, I'm talking about, and these women were chucking to catch up to her. It's harder to run faster dribbling a basketball, because I did play sports. It's hard to run faster dribbling a basketball and being controlled because you got to focus on not losing the ball, knowing where the basket is, knowing where the defender is. You got to worry about the defender just has to catch you. They don't care about, and she was out. It was incredible. She was making a layups before they were at the foul line. I think you're absolutely right. I think she's Speedy. She's just gassed out herself. She's a human being. She's tired. She's gassed out. Caitlin fans are going to make it hard for them to attract other superstars because they don't get played. T Black, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Someone actually sees what I'm talking about and thinks, instead of just trolling me and trying to make it seem like I'm saying something I'm not. 100%, brother. Thank you. Everyone forgets Kelsey is the 4th all-time. Guy, thank you. Thank you. This is what I'm talking about. It's this type of stuff. This is what I'm talking about. This is what I mean. Oh, man. This is what I mean. We both passionate. Yep, agree. I love KM and CC. You good, bro? I agree with you, brother. I'm having fun doing this. I'm not really upset, man. I'm not upset. I still stand by. Just because you disagree doesn't mean I'm wrong. It just means I'm wrong to you. I still stand by what I said. I tell people all the time, listen, go make a YouTube video and say what you think. That's all I'm doing. It's just YouTube, right? Kelsey needs to understand that she will get more love and eyes on her at the Fever. If her ego gets to her, she will leave and go back to playing in empty arenas until the Fever games. So that's an interesting point, because now it's about her character, her ego. And I don't know if it's about her ego. Like, what basketball players don't want to be like, when they actually have the accomplishments? What basketball players don't want to have their accomplishment? Even as a society, we understand this by the phrase, give people their flowers, right? Like, we understand that people need their flowers. So I don't know if it's her ego as much as just wanting recognition. But I do agree that she won't be playing in the same arenas that she's gotten used to. There's some new, and the league is growing, and the other players come in. Paige Beckers is coming in next year, and there are going to be other good players. So Kelsey, this is what I would say. I don't know if it's going to be like empty stadiums versus, I don't think it's going to be that. I think what's going to happen is the league is growing now. And because there are people who even in this comment section have said, I just watched, then I found out about other players and now I enjoy them. It's happening. So she might go to a team that doesn't get the sellout numbers, but it's not like she's going to go to an empty gym. She's still going to be playing in front of thousands of people. But when you're an athlete, and you love the game, and you just want to ball and like you want your flowers or whatever it is. I don't know if that's ego, but I think if 5,000 people cheering for you is still good. That's still good. So I think, yeah. Kelsey is, oh my gosh, Bill. She is the road runner, fam. She is road. They should nickname her Kelsey Road Runner Mitchell. That's her nickname. Remember where you heard it first. Kelsey Road Runner Mitchell. Beep, beep. It's like her feet are running in a circle. I tell you what, man, it's incredible to watch. Yeah, thank you, guy. I appreciate that, brother. Pass the hoop, and I need to see those highlights. This was back in the day. I could hoop. You know what it was? Because I came up in the era of, I came up before and one. So we used to practice move, like we used to do stuff like this. This is the stuff I would do. I would take a bandana, tie it around my eyes, and I would dribble and practice dribbling where now I can't look at the ball. And at first you would lose the ball a lot. And you got to pull your bandana up and chase and get it. But then eventually you get a feel. You just dribble slow, bap, 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 bap. You do that first and you routine and you go behind the back, crossovers behind the back, and you get a feel for the ball, and then you go between the legs, and that's the kind of stuff we would practice. So we were doing and one moves that were actually legal. So when and one came out, we used to watch them and like them, but we'd be like, man, that's illegal. You can't do that move in a game. That stuff was for the and one leagues, like hot sauce, all that throwing the ball. Like, you can't do that stuff in the game. That's how serious we took it, because we all wanted to go D1, but it didn't happen for us like that. So Cam plays better in a system where she takes less dribbles. She becomes more efficient. 100%, I agree. But she can score off the dribble for sure. What 20-plus player is excited about coming to the Fever? Will vets be coming to the Fever? Are you sure? I'm not. I don't know, bro. I don't know. It depends on what happens to them this year. And then let's keep in mind, Uncle B, there's stuff that we don't know about. So within the league, they hear stuff. There might be people, like teammates may not like Caitlin Clark. Just because we're farming off of her doesn't mean her teammates like her. So we don't know what's going on. So that, to your point, we don't know what's going on. We don't know. Yeah, I would disagree with this. I think. So I would disagree with this, Adams. Honestly, I don't think she can get to the basket anytime. No, she cannot. She still picks the ball up too much at the top of the key. Maybe that's the offense giving it to, but you could tell when she kind of panics. She doesn't come down. She's not like Arike Onguwale, who was like, and then goes past you. No, Kelsey Mitchell will dribble, and then go past you. Caitlin Clark her handle is best when it's coming like going downhill, as they call it. She's downhill, she gets behind you, she dribbles with the right. She's getting better at displaying her handle. But I don't know if I don't think she can get to the basket. I don't think she would say she can get to the basket anytime. But she's getting better because she's been practicing a floater. She's been practicing other moves. Now, that move behind the back, where she was dribbling through it behind the back, sweet. I love seeing it. But most of Caitlin Clark's points, she has the one thing that she has that Kelsey Mitchell does not have. Caitlin Clark has the step back. I don't know anyone else who has a better step back three in the WNBA. Now, maybe because I haven't watched enough. I could be wrong. But Caitlin Clark has the dribble, throw it back, step back, shoom, hit it, and she bangs them joints. That's her signature move. That's step back. So I'll give her that. But I don't know pound for pound. I don't know I don't think she gets there anytime. I don't think so. They're different type of players. For example, they want to get a player like Kalia Cooper. Cooper, yeah, I think it's Copper actually. But yeah, that's interesting. Samuelson should not be a starter. Smith either. Smith has potential though. Maybe add to it. I think she's gonna go. She's gonna go. Melissa Smith is out of there. She's not gonna be there. And if Temi Fagbenle, if she stays healthy, they're not gonna really need Alyssa Smith. Because you got Damaris. That girl, she's starting the ball. She's a big girl too. She can hit the three and post up. And Alyssa Smith can. Every time she shoots a three, I'm just like, what are you doing, fam? And I've never seen her make one, at least not this year. About to wrap this up because every time I think I'm going to do a quick video for the algorithm, I do these Q&As and I go through this and it extends it this part is longer than the actual video that I made. Already the best shot created in WNBA, both for herself and her teammates. 100%. I would agree with that. Size does not help this team at all. I don't know if I would say that, but I think there's a case to be made that a better coach would have this team in a better position for sure. I have a question. Indiana Fever last year were last in the league with KM and AB, though I liked them so much. But this year there's the addition of Clark. Changed everything. KM and AB were okay. But they didn't do jack. But Caitlin alone carries a different gravy without, I think I want to say gravity maybe, without forgetting KM, who was currently balling. But when the season started, it was Clark and AB. So this is a good point, Patrick. So let's talk about that. So the Indiana Fever won 13 games last year. They weren't the worst team in the league. And it was Christy Side's first year as a coach. So someone said this earlier, and I think Gary or someone just alluded to, Bill alluded to this. No, was it Bill? No, it was, Gary did it. She said size does not help this team at all. So it was her first year as a head coach. she got Aaliyah Boston. They went 13. They didn't make the playoffs, but they weren't the worst team in the league. I don't think they were last, but maybe I'm wrong. I think there were some other teams that were worse than them, but they got the number 1 pick, I guess, because of whatever. So, but they had a first-year head coach, and that's always challenging. And I think Christy Sides is a little bit out of her league on one level. So last year, you got the rookie of the year. You get the number AB. Leah Boston was the number 1 pick in the draft. They got 2 years in a row number 1 pick in the draft. She wins because the year before they won 5 games, if I'm not mistaken. They were 5-33. Then Aaliyah Boston comes, they win 8 more games, right? Kelsey Mitchell's there. So I think every team, like here's the thing you have that. Why did LeBron leave Cleveland? Why? Why did he need to go? Let's be clear. LeBron has not won a title. Maybe unless you're going to count the bubble during COVID year. He needed someone. He was a phenom. This is why the comparison between him and Michael Jordan. While I think LeBron's a phenom, Jordan was like, I'm staying with my team. That's it. Scottie Pippen got drafted in '87. It took them 4 years to work together before they started winning championships. Right. I think in this era, people just get on teams. They create super teams and try to win because they just can't do it. So when you get a team, a homegrown team like Golden State, they won before Kevin Durant because they grew those teams together, right? That happens. Whenever another player comes that's good, they're going to draw attention of the defense and free. That's just normal. It's in every sport. I'm a big NFL guy, right? So I got season tickets to the Commanders. I'm a big fantasy football guy. You know, if a running back is good, they're gonna do a lot of play action, and what's that do? It's gonna free up the receivers. That's just sports, right? Whenever you get a player that's gonna draw attention of the defense, it's gonna free up. That's sports. That's just reality. That's sports like soccer, basketball and football. That's just going to happen. It's going to create more plays. Like the year we drafted RG3 in 2013, they were doing that read option like crazy. We were killing teams with that read option because we had a quarterback that was fast as lightning and would do a fake handoff and take off. That year, the read option blew up, but he also blew out his knee by getting tackled too much, and that was it for RG3, and we gave up a lot, and I'm still getting over that. But that's just the reality of sports, man. So even though they didn't have Caitlin last year, they won 13 games. But let's keep it 100. They're 14. They got 10 games left in the season. 10 games. We don't know how many they're going to win. 10 games left. They've only won 1 game more than what they won last season. Now, granted, they got 10 more games, sure, so they could win 8 of those 10 and it'd be different. But we don't know how many. So even with Caitlin Clark there, it's not like, oh my gosh, they're 20-10 or whatever. It's like they're still under 500. But in the WNBA, because so many teams are subpar, you can still go to the playoffs as a 7th seed with an under 500 record, right? So I think it's just basketball now. I don't think it has anything to do with Kelsey Mitchell's ability or Aaliyah Boston. I just think it's just, this is why teams sometimes will tank in the end of the season so they can get a big number 1 player in the draft so that it helps there, because that's just how sports works. So that's what I would say. If CeCe stays healthy, she will be the GOAT, period, 100%. I ain't gonna lie, when she twisted her ankle, I was like, no, because I knew, I was like, all right, well, I ain't gonna be watching that much more basketball then. CeCe needs to start getting superstar calls. AJ and Stewie have the best whistle in the WNBA. Yeah, man, I would say in that regard, I think they're doing Caitlin Clark wrong, bro. I think there have been some blatant, I'm talking about just like stuff that in the NBA teams would have came off the bench and they just let it go. They just let it go. I think that's wrong, man. And I think that's dumb, because if Caitlin Clark gets hurt, revenue's going to stop. Yeah, revenue's going to stop. All right, let me see. I got to wrap this up. Let me just look through these. Let me see. Put any NBA star, not the same LeBron and Steph. Caitlin easily the best star in America. 100%, Patrick. 100%. 100%. Let me see. I'm just trying to go through because I got to get going. So the only people who are offended by the media promoting Caitlin are some old fans who aren't Fever fans and people who don't want her to be the face of the league. I can see that. I can see that. KM is the best pure athlete on the team. I would say, I would agree with that. I would agree with that. I would agree with that. Love this podcast, great. But yeah, I don't think, you know what? I'm not saying this in an arrogant way at all, but I don't think anyone else does this. My videos are twice as long as they could because I do this. I go through the comments. I had someone tell me they never see anyone go through the comments. But I enjoy it. I think I don't know if I want to do videos unless I go, well, unless it's a short video and it's just a quick, or if it's a deep video, because my videos aren't always about basketball and Caitlin Clark and sports. Sometimes I'm a Christian. I talk about my faith. I talk about different things that are happening. So sometimes, but I always do this. I do this all the time when and I enjoy doing it. But it does make my videos longer. And sometimes I think that I get punished by the algorithm. But that's just my thing. That's my stick. So like and subscribe. I appreciate it. And I agree with you, Gary. I enjoy this. Even if we disagree, if I push back strongly, it's just because I'm passionate. I'm not offended at all, man. This stuff doesn't offend me. I don't care if people agree with me or not. I mean, it's YouTube. It's the I disagree with you decade. I mean, no. I mean, what's funny? People were like, well, I don't always agree with everything you say. Man, if you don't even agree with everything your wife or your children say or your parents say. For that matter, we don't even agree with everything God says. We want to do our own thing. So I don't even know why people say it doesn't even matter, but I appreciate it. I love doing this too, Gary. Appreciate you, man. Keep checking it out. Like and subscribe. If you haven't, man, and let's do this every video. But why were stats an accomplishment before? I'm not sure what you're asking right there, Donna. I'm about to get off, but if you can clarify before I do, I'll try. But I'm not sure what you're asking. Kelsey Roadrunner Mitchell. I'm telling you, bro. That's her name. Remember where you heard it first. Roadrunner Mitchell. Remember where you heard it first. Adams, do you think Angels teammates feel similar? The media totally focuses on her in Chicago, especially Cardoso being there. I think they 100% feel that same way. 100%. That's why. What's that girl who just left? She was like, I don't want to play under this. I didn't come here. I forgot her name. The white girl. It starts with an M, and I'm drawing a blank. But she got traded to the Connecticut Sun. She left because she was like, look, I came here previously to be with the coach who was here before. He left, and she decided to stay on because Teresa Witherspoon was a new coach and sort of an NBA basketball legend in the WNBA. So, but she was like, I don't want to be here. She doesn't want to be under this, this Caitlin Clark thing. They didn't want to be here. And then even Kennedy Carter has been lashing out against them. And Chicago is imploding. I think this game on Friday, the Barbie night, they're trying to make the Barbie because they're playing Indiana Fever. Clearly they're doing that because they're playing Indiana Fever. But I think Chicago is imploding in many ways. And I think Teresa Witherspoon is not going to be the coach there, I think, long term. I don't think she has... Listen, I don't think the team... They respect her legacy, but they don't respect her as a coach. Because they're doing wild stuff. I think Cardoza is... I think she's probably blown as she's playing. But I don't know, though. When I say this, it's speculation. I don't know. She might not be sure. She might just be glad to be in the league because she's from another country and she's able to... who knows? But let me see. It's not Kelsey ego. It's about Caitlin fans bashing them whenever the Fever lose and praising Caitlin when the Fever win. 100%. I agree with that totally. Yeah, CC number 22, go Fever women. Yep. We definitely bang with her. Let me see. Looking for people that haven't really shared much because I said I got to get out of here like 10 minutes ago. I'm still doing this. If Kelsey Mitchell wants out of Indiana, getting Kelsey vacated slot will become a gold rush. If Kelsey wants to play before 4,000 to 6,000, let her have it. Kelsey's jersey sales be ageless. 100%. Kelsey, I'm telling you, man, people think Kelsey Mitchell, I think she's going to leave. I think the only way I think she would stay, actually, no, I just think she wants to leave. Maybe if the Lord decided to bless them with the presence of his spirit and they won the championship, maybe she would stay to try to defend it, maybe. But I think she wants to try her hand in free agency because this is probably the first year. Because, sometimes it takes a couple years to come into your own. When Steph Curry came in, he wasn't bombing like he is. It took him a couple years. They were like under 500 his first 2 or 3 seasons. And then Klay Thompson came. It takes some time to get into a groove, and that's how dynasties build, It takes time to get into a groove and figure things out. So I think when you say, well, she wasn't like this 2 years ago. Well, if you know sports, sometimes it takes now it's clear Kelsey Mitchell is in a groove. Whether that's solely because of Caitlin Clark, if she leaves, we'll find out. But she's definitely in a groove. And I think that's the reality. I know it's, let me see. I know it's a different sport, but it looks like your squad, the Commanders, got the most exciting QB. Yeah, 100%. That's why I've been a depressed season ticket holder But this year I can't wait to go to the games. What we did in the off season was incredible. I totally, yeah, I'm excited for that. All right, I'm gonna. Camilla is the best rookie next to Caitlin if she gets the opportunity to run the show. I think she's good. I mean, I don't know. There's some other players like we don't. Yeah, I wish Cameron Brink hadn't got hurt. It'd have been interesting to see her develop and play. I wonder how she's going to do because I think she tore her ACL. I know. With men, they have like back in the day. Remember when if you tore your ACL, your career was over. I remember if you were a running back in the NFL or something and you tore your ACL, that was it. But they've developed, equipment and ways to rebuild that and surgeries that I remember. Remember Adrian Peterson, dog from the Minnesota Vikings. He tore his ACL, and I thought, man, it's a wrap for him. But he was able to come back, and I think he even played. He played a couple. He had some good years. He wasn't as fast, but man, he had some good years after he tore his ACL. So I know that the technology and the surgeries they're able to repair it. Hopefully Cameron Brink can come back. That'll be interesting. Texans has the best QB. That's subjective. He's good, but that's subjective. He's 1 year. When a person has a good year, their rookie year, it's often because NFL teams don't have enough tape on them. They're only pivoting off of the previous game. When you played a couple years and people know who you are, it's easier. Like even as good as Patrick Mahomes is, they haven't won every year he's been in the league. Right, they've won something. He's tough, but they haven't won every year he's been in the league because teams figure out. So I think with C.J. Stroud, he's a good, and no one expected that from them. That's the other thing. Keep that in mind. No one expected them to be decent. So now defensive schemes are going to key. They know what he can do now. They know that he's not. They got tape on him. They got tape. So they're watching film. They got film. So it'll be interesting to see. I don't think he's the best QB, but he was tough. I enjoy watching him. It'll be interesting. Last comment, your new defensive coordinator is great too. Yeah, he's good. And I like our head coach. Our head coach is one. Some coaches you could tell are a athlete's coach, like a man's man. Like I think teams, people really respect him. So I think that's the case. Good point. Yeah. I think in the NFL, man, these dudes are professionals, fam. They got tape now. They got film on C.J. Stroud. They know what he likes to do. It's like watching poker. We know his tell. When he makes that, we know where he's going. They're going to start picking up on him. So it'll be interesting to see how he does. Him and Tank Dell. Tank Dell's a wideout who had a decent rookie season, but he's a rookie. Now I think actually wide receivers, I think they actually do better because they learn the defenses and the routes. Because a lot of it is about learning the speed of the route and different things. But once you get a year under your belt and you know what the speed is, you get it. But quarterback, so it'll be interesting, man. It'll be interesting to see how the Texans do this year because now the expectations are, we know you guys can ball now. So it'll be interesting. But I appreciate y'all, man. I got to get out of here. I was supposed to do another video at 2:30, but this one went so long, I got to push that back. All right. Grateful for you. Thank you for the banter and all that back and forth. Don't let the passion fool you. We're just having fun talking. I like this stuff. I don't mind if you disagree with me. It's life. I don't expect everyone to agree with me. Just don't accuse me of stuff that I'm not doing because then that's a different problem because then I won't put your comments on there. But I mean, but I appreciate you. And I'll see you later on. For those who follow the channel, like and subscribe. I will be doing another video today. It will not be about Caitlin Clark. I have a political rant. I'm sorry. I have a Kamala and Trump rant that I can't believe what I'm seeing. And it's so hypocritical that it's just, I got to talk about it. So I'll see you guys at that video. Grace and peace. Thanks for watching. Like and subscribe to the channel. And let's keep the party going.